everyone, it's Anahata. How are you? Welcome back. And if this is your first time with us, no worries. It's a linear, it's a spherical progression, non-linear. So you are perfectly in the right place now, regardless of if you have seen day 1 or 2. So we are in day 3 and we're going to get a countdown going. I would love to hear, where are you tuning in from? Also, today I want to switch it up and add in one more request. Give us some words that evoke the feeling of fully living for you. So what does it mean for you personally to be fully living? And that will be such beautiful medicine for people as we read through the emotional resonance of fully living. And as you know, all exists already. We just need to match that vibrational plane to experience it. And so we can actually experience our end goal now. And we're going to talk about that more. And so we're going to get going in 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Introduce in the chat, where are you tuning in from in the world? I'm in Southwest Florida. It's beautiful here. My daughter and I and her friend are going to head to the beach, which is 7 minutes away. As soon as I'm done broadcasting, it's 80 degrees. So we got the warm Gulf water. And just south of where I live, about 15 minutes is where partially Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed, because the water is just gorgeous here where we live. Now, nothing matches so far for me the actual Caribbean. I was blessed to go for 10 days just last week. I just got back to be with my soulmate, and for 10 days in St. Thomas. And it is spectacular, absolutely spectacular there. Now, listen, my life is magical. It hasn't always been this way. I chose to carve a path that was different than the one that I saw when I looked in the mirror. I chose to decide who I wanted to be and take the steps to become it. And of course, I'm still becoming. But guys, you can do this. You can do anything you want. I am so blessed to be living my bliss biz, living where I want, working when I want, for whom I want, and for those who love it. I have time freedom. I have money freedom. I'm vibrantly healthy. And you can have this too, and much, much more. I promise. Because the only reason you ever fail is if you give up. And once you set your solid goals by using the alchemical tools that I'm teaching you to align with them, there is no choice for them to become. They will. It is natural law. So in 2 minutes, we're going to get going. This is quantum motivation, guys, but this is practical magic. You can make quantum shifts, and perhaps you have in your life. Most of you in this group, based on what your desires are already in the area of energy, right? Energy healing specifically, and advancement. However, why is it that most of us with these big hearts and amazing minds and just such amazing stuff that we want to do for the world seem to struggle? And it's simply because of patterns. And guys, we can get those overrode. We can make new pathways through repetition, through focus, through living and being what we teach, what we see. And it starts with really clear goals. So we're going to get going in 1 minute. I hope you have been listing words that come up to you. You know, for me, fully living means time freedom, money freedom, the freedom to express myself how I want to, the freedom to expand, and the freedom to travel. And you know, these are all realities despite what's going on. I was able to go to Alaska this summer as well. Amazing. There I am running. That's my backyard there in Southwest Florida. A beautiful bay. And, you know, I'm a mermaid. I'm a Pisces ×3. We're going to get into intuition tomorrow. It's one of our higher faculties. And I know a bunch of you already have that intact because that's why you're a spiritual practitioner. There's a beautiful blue jay outside bringing us its totem medicine. So you can look up that. Guys, the universe is speaking to us continually based on our vibration. And we are a match. We are experiencing what we are chronically thinking and the emotions based on that. 3, 2, 1, woo! Here we go, guys. It is time. We are going to be learning all about practical magic related to the mental plane today. Okay, day 1 was all about ether. And day 2, let's just see here. I'm going to come here. Day 2 was physicality, and replay. You know, these will be available for a short amount of time. I encourage you to listen and listen again and listen again. Okay, those of you who have done your homework, each little exercise that we do, you'll be entered to win. And so I want you to commit for 5 days. Tune in with me. It's just 30 minutes and 30 minutes of assignments. And I hope you guys can feel the shifts already. It's one thing to think through the information I'm teaching you, and it's another to actually do it. And that's what we're going to do today. It's a non-linear journey. You're going to hear things in different ways, and different pieces are going to come through to you. Remember what I said yesterday about your aha processing. It takes a little time to get back into the presentation when you go, oh my gosh, that was amazing. You missed the next maybe 5 to 10 seconds. So listening back is going to fill in those spaces to reiterate the truth of your magnificence, the truth that you are the author of your life, and you're either doing so unconsciously or consciously, and that you can have anything you desire. The prerequisite is merely to want it and to vision it. And so day 1, we pulled from the ether by discovering what we desire and imagining it as if it was so, the shaman hack, and getting those strings pulling. Yesterday, we talked about physicality and the perception of chaos around us and how we can center in and get crystal focused on where we want to go, and you know, declutter, release anything that doesn't align with where you're headed. We used trees and soil to do that. And you know, it's true, and it's true. Physicality is very convincing, but it is nevertheless vibration from the past. So today, a repetition is the key. Think, do, be, repeat. Think, do, be, repeat. And so there are only 3 planes of correspondence. One of you was asking, what is the book? And it's the Kabbalion. There is a book called the Kabbalion, which goes over the 7 Hermetic laws. It's a Hermetic philosophy. Such amazing stuff, guys. When you can really rest in the knowing that there is structure and that nothing's a surprise, there are countless hacks for you to succeed with whatever you want. And my wish for you is that you embody this information, you choose a path, you hire me as your mentor, then explain the 12-month program here and give you an incentive today, and go for it. Take the steps, do things differently. You cannot solve your issues using the same energy that you use to create them. So we take ownership of our life, we vision the way, those pieces come to us, right? Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking back, looking forward, only looking back. What that means is we have to trust that once we vision things, people, places, things will coordinate based on our allowance and our expectation and the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And we will see these results. It is law. And so we're working with 3 planes: physical plane, mental plane, and spiritual. And that's it. We've talked a lot about the physical plane. We did talk about a little bit with the spiritual with ether, but tomorrow we go further with fire. And we've also reiterated the mental. Why? Because all the gurus, regardless of philosophy, training, background, focus, they all agree on one thing, and that is we become what we think about. That's it. We get what we think about. And we have 3 thought layers. Most people think, oh, well, then I should have what I want because I'm always thinking in the vein of wanting those things or focused really on your goal. The problem is we don't realize we have 3 layers. We have 3 minds. We have subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. Okay. And in the Hermetic philosophy, which, by the way, all of the self-development gurus talk about, they just don't specifically point to the book. I like to point to this book because it is a little heady and a lot to chew, but I have distilled it down into simplicity for you, but it is still a good reference to have where you can maybe read a paragraph a day and really gestate and distill it down and get it into your patterns of thinking so that you recall them on default. Because you are an alchemist. Change the energy, change the manifestation of the mass. You are energy and information. You can be anything you want, but you need to work with all 3 of your thought layers. Today is all about mental, and so here we go. There are subconscious defaults. This is not only the programming you received when you were a child, it's your past trauma, it's patterns from society, as well as epigenetics. We carry through up to 7 generations, survival imprints, which are fight, flight, and frozen, which don't serve us. Yes, they will keep us safe if there is real danger, but the problem is most of our danger is made up in our head. It's perception of what we believe will happen, called anxiety, or regret from the past, which is called depression. And so conscious awareness is about 10%. But this is where we decipher. We use our higher faculties of perception, of will, to decipher what it is we are witnessing and if it's true. And if we don't want it to be true, this is where we get to say, it's true, but do I want it to be? Your truth is your truth, and it will show itself. Do you ever notice how if someone believes one thing, that's what they keep seeing? It's not by flaw, it's by natural law. Right? If someone believes that all men are aggressive, that's what they encounter. They are saying yes to that, even though they're consciously saying no, because the universe doesn't understand no, it understands focus. And you need to start thinking about whatever you are dwelling on is what you are advocating for. This is why the war on drugs doesn't work. There is no war. This is why the war, whatever they call it, the fight for cancer doesn't work. You don't need to be fighting against anything. You need to harmonize with where you want to go versus where you've been. And the superconscious, okay, this is where there is no identity. You are all things if you zoom out. And so getting these 3 thought layers together is amazing. The full you, okay, the full you. It's very distracting. We're in our physical bodies. We see, taste, touch, smell. 1%, and actually it's less than that. I still can't get my head around it. When you ask actual physicists, they're like, oh yeah, Nassim Haramein is one of my favorites. He says something like 99.9% of what we experience is not even there. What we're seeing, tasting, touching, smelling is 0.01%. And this little jiggle we call reality. It's this little teeny collapsed portion, 0.01%. The rest is potential, as well as divine energy and information, ether. Review day 1. Day 2, we are still stuck in our little teeny worlds, feeling like we're separate, feeling like we are the person we see when we look in the mirror, when really this is just our vehicle. We are source, experiencing our own little neck of the fractal and creating our own little worlds. And the key is to realize that you're always expanding, that you're going to want to expand forever. And when you hold yourself apart from that expansion, it feels like pain. That's what it is, because you can't unvision your desire. We all have desires to expand and to grow. And when you have those desires, they're there already. If you don't reach them, you feel them as pain because you wish for something to be other than it is. And that's the root of all pain. And so the key is to be in your body, but not of your body, to understand that all is here already. Nothing can be created or destroyed, only transformed and transmuted. And then set about removing, disowning. I don't mean disowning as in you're wrong, I want you away from me, as in I realize you have, as a powerful creator, you have access to all things. Now, what do you want your life to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want your identity to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who are the people you want to hang out with? How do you speak? How do you dress? How do you act? We're going to get into it later, because you can identify with whatever you want, and that becomes your reality. Now there's a stretch zone, this 4%, that's where flow, that's the flow. We reviewed that, we had that yesterday, but just a quick review is, overwhelm doesn't lead you to anything. If you bite off too much and there's not realistic nuggets of winning, you're going to freeze. It's going to be overwhelmed. Likewise, if you're bored and you're not challenging yourself and you're not expanding into your fullness, you're not moving forward either, and it's felt as pain. And so the key is about 4% over time. So challenge yourself by 4%. Now, why don't we get what we want? We talked about this before, but repetition is key. You're going to hear it another way here. The ego wants to keep us safe, wants to keep us in our known, even if it's miserable. And if you haven't noticed, success isn't about talent. It's not. It's about vibration. It's not about how hard you work. It's just not. If it were, all billionaires would be like saints. And as we know, that's not the case. And there are poor geniuses. There are struggling heartpreneurs. I see it all the time. And they think, oh man, I must be doing something wrong because otherwise I would be abundant right now. That's not the case. That's not how it works. You have to understand it's not about talent, value, or how hard you work. It's about if you ask, align, allow, and activate. If you align with where you're headed and where you want to be or not. Okay, your vibes don't lie. What lies before, vibes before. You're going to get what you think about, and what you think about is 90% default. So you've got to address the subconscious layers and lovingly acknowledge and then replace. Just choose anew. We need to stop making it personal because we are all things and we can have anything we desire. When you validate your issues, you become a victim and you take your power away. When you say, but see, this is my issue. I hear it all the time, people arguing for their limitations. Well, you wouldn't feel that way, Anahata, if you only had one leg, or you wouldn't. Nonsense. Some of the most inspiring, successful people have come from these hardships. Despite that, right? We grow through our pain and reach our goals, or we don't. But ownership of where we're at, fully getting out of victimhood and saying, no, 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 I get to choose. I get to decide how I interpret my environment and what I make of it and what I pull to me, what I coordinate. That's quantum motivation, and it's going to feel so good when you set up realistic goals. Because think about this, hot and cold, they're not opposite. They're two ends of the same bandwidth. So failure, in fact, I'm going to put failure up here, because if you fail often, you're going to succeed. You're on your way, because why? You're a quantum step away from success. Because if you use failure as optimization data, every time you fail, you're getting better and better and closer and closer and closer. That is, if you don't give up. Most people look at what is and say, oh, I've failed, there's no point, and they stop. So ask, align, and allow, activate. You are all things. You have access to all things. The 5 plutonic solids can help a lot. And they are fire, water, ether, air, and earth. And everything is various combinations of that. You are an alchemist anyway, whether you know you are or whether you don't know you are, it doesn't matter. You can either create consciously or unconsciously. I choose consciously. And so the air element is beneficial because it is all thought and all is mental. So everything we see, taste, touch, smell, feel is as a result of thought, either consciously or unconsciously. We have our thinking mind, which is about 10%, and our subconscious mind, which is about 90%. When we can get our subconscious mind on board with our thinking mind where we want to go, the sky is not the limit. It's the portal to more and more and more. And air is all about movement, about getting going. And so today there's a really great incentive for you to do so, to say yes to yourself in 2022. Air is breath. And this is a cool thing to think about. The visual of this slide will help as well. Our emotions are activated in response to the air. Okay, so the air comes down on the waves and suddenly you get a rip-roaring, current, or it's just very peaceful. And so this is the same. Thoughts and our emotional response to those thoughts, our interpretation of those thoughts, it can be turbulent or peaceful. And you guys have to have a path. You have to chart a path. You cannot be at the whim of the weather external to you. It has to come from the inside out. Don't aimlessly wander. We need to stop doing that. So the alchemical symbol for air is the triangle with a line on the top, thinking about air, right? And that helps me at least. This shape is sacred. It's the Merkaba. It is the Blessed Trinity of spiritual, physical, mental, right? Spiritual, physical, mental, reflected, because there are always two ends, reflected. You can have one, but until you see perspective, that's the second dimension. And so here we have the Merkaba, which is called the light vehicle. It's how we move. This is how we move around the universe, and this is encoded in everything. And so this alchemical symbol of air looks like that, just a side note. And I want to bring up the point here that when you get all three of your brains on board, right, the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious, what happens is, instead of things pulling you in different directions, your physical saying one thing, your conscious is saying, your subconscious is saying one thing, where you want to go is saying another, right? Instead of being pulled here, there, and everywhere, you center in and everything overlaps and it crystallizes. And that feels like peace. That feels like clarity. It feels like order. And it feels like understanding. And this is where you can then tap into divine intelligence, which we'll talk about tomorrow during Spiritual Fire. And the opposite, when we aren't mentally free, how does that feel? Well, it feels like chaos. It feels like things are happening to us, not through us. It feels like confusion. It feels cluttered. And you feel uncertain and overwhelmed, right? And you can think of it as expansiveness and evenness and keeping up with yourself is freedom. And when you aren't, you're contracted. What does contraction come from? Fear. False evidence appearing real. You're in fight, flight, and frozen mode. You're not expanding. You're holding on for dear life. And that's no way to live. It's painful. We are meant to expand because we are expansive beings. Now, a way to do this is so helpful is the 4 A's of Anahata. Follow these steps and you will achieve mental freedom. And I'm going to get a tattoo here someday that says in cursive, ask, align, or allow, activate. Ask, align, allow, activate. It's the 3 A's of Anahata, but it's the magic wand of manifestation. So you ask, you literally ask, you get clear on your desire as if it is so by aligning with the end in mind. Okay, already done, which we did on day 1. And then day 2, you drop your old identity and any resistance, which we did yesterday. I hope you went outside and found a tree and or put your feet in the soil. I'm loving all your photos. Go back and do it. Remember, if you do the assignments, you'll be entered to win the grand prize, which is all 4 of my books and some water bending rocks. All right, so ask, align, allow, activate. That is the key. Most people, they think this stuff and they go, I get it. And they make the mistake of thinking that because they're thinking it and they understand it, that that's the same as doing it. And it's not. When you think and understand it, you've gotten 10% of your 100% on board. So if you do the math, you're still going to be 90% not hitting your goals. And it's frustrating because you go, I've done all this. Well, have you? Have you actually done it? You've got to ask yourself that. For those of you listening who haven't done the exercises, you're not doing it. You have not done it. It doesn't matter if you think it through and go, I get it, I understand. Until you do it, you have not done it. So please go back, do those steps. That's why I am giving away a prize for them, because otherwise it goes in one ear and out the other. And you could be like understanding it and loving it, but nothing's going to change. And that's going to lead to further doubt and indecision about your path ahead. So take the actual steps, live the way you want to live if you had it already. And so just a quick reminder of what that looks like. These are 10 habits of successful people. And you can ask yourself honestly, and guys, your results show you how you're doing with any of this. If you have a goal, look at your results, and that's how you're doing. And it's okay. You don't need to go, oh gosh, I'm failing, you know, what's going on? Consciousness means you're expanding. And as you expand, you're going to reach new planes of reality and you're going to hit those goals. So you have to have a starting point. So are you setting goals? Do you have goals? Do you know what you're doing tomorrow? Do you know what you're doing next week? Do you know where you're heading in 3 years? This is why the first day we said vision 2024, baby, pie in the sky, here we go. And now we're backing off. We're going to take the steps to get there. We don't know, we don't need to know how. You just have to desire it. When you desires you, you coordinate, you get little nuggets along the way, you gain clarity, you achieve, you set new goals, you reach them, and you repeat. So are you setting goals? It's a yes or no. Are you taking responsibility for your actions, for your life, for who you surround yourself with, for what you're focused on, what you're doing or aren't doing? Take responsibility. That's the only way to be successful. Are you self-disciplined, or are you full of excuses? Are you letting other things take away your power? It's a yes or no. Are you obsessed with self-development? You should be. If you want to serve the world, be the best you can be and never stop improving yourself every single day. Seek wisdom and skills, guys. The minute you say you have all the answers and you just know it is the minute you stop growing, and that leads to stagnation and, you know, dying. It's not a good place to be. So continue to grow, to be living fully, and to seek new wisdom and skills. I do all the time, every single day. Do you have good time management? You know, it cracks me up when I get to the you know, the invite to come join me for 12 months, I hear a lot of people say it's not the right time. What that simply means is I've filled my plate with other things that aren't as important than my self-development and my goals. So you're prioritizing other things, no matter how real they are. Do you have 30 minutes a day? Do you have 30 minutes a week? If you do, then say yes to yourself. Lack of time means that you need this program. So those who say it's like a big red flag, if they're like, oh, it's just not the right time, I don't have time. Well, that's why you need this. Take risks. Are you taking risks? Yes or no? Those who take risks get to places they haven't been. It's required. Keep going. Again, failure only happens when you give up. Are you finding a way to win? You're either finding a way or you're finding an excuse, essentially. And lastly, are you doing what you love? Are you doing what you love? And if you're not, change it. It's as simple as that. So the only reason why you don't get what you want is because you're identifying with where you've been and taking that as is, and that's your identity. You're here, but you want to be there. That's painful. Zoom out. You can have it all. It's already here. You are super conscious. Now today, since we're talking about the mental plane, I want you to begin from here forward to think only from your goal and to say no to anything else. And through lack of focus, not no, because that's yes, right? Remember. So we're going to be thinking from our goal, and we're going to simply disengage our energy from anything that runs counter to the fulfillment of that goal. But here's the key. You can't outperform your self-image. You can't. So the biggest takeaway for today is to work on how you view yourself. Who do you want to be? And then become that. So call to action. What do you want to be? Okay. How would that person act? How would they dress? Who would you be spending your time with? Where would you go? Start being that person. Change your energy, transform the manifestation of the mass that's you and everything that comes to you as a result of that change, that shift. But you guys got to think only from your goal. And here's one big major point for today. Recognize self-sabotage. Don't get on yourself about it. That's self-limiting, right? Don't make yourself feel bad for having these natural defaults of defense that are built in everyone's ego so that we can be safe and alive, even though sometimes, most of the time, it makes us miserable. Self-sabotage is simply your own body's mechanism to prevent you from going off into the wild blue yonder and being too risky with your life, right? We want to be safe. So we stay in the known, we stay in patterns, even if they don't serve us and even if we're miserable. So recognize self-sabotage. Yesterday, we talked about once you decide you want to go big, your patterns are going to have a tantrum. They're going to start saying, who do you think you are? Look at what is. Don't be a dreamer. That can't happen. That's not for you. It's for other people. And guys, that is belief structure. That's BS. So recognizing self-sabotage, overthinking, doubt, indecision, excuses, looking at the is and letting it interfere and take your focus from what you want. Napoleon Hill said, successful people make decisions quickly and as soon as all the facts are available, and they change them very slowly, if ever. Unsuccessful people make decisions very slowly and they change them often and quickly. So feed yourself what you need. You know what you need. You know what you need to be doing. Don't wait for external evidence. Plant the seed and take the steps. Period. It's a done deal. It will harvest what you desire as long as you stop digging it up, looking at it, saying, where is it? And running counter. So a little side note, bamboo gestates for years and years. Might be 14 years. I need to look that up again because it was just amazing when I came across that information. I was like, wow, man. And if you planted that seed and you thought, oh, it's never going to happen. And then suddenly when it breaks into the air and goes, you can see it growing. It grows so fast, right? This is where they say, an overnight success. All of them have taken 10 years to gestate. It's just once it comes in so vibrantly that you're like blown away, and it's like an overnight success. Well, it's not overnight. It gestated, and we didn't see all that other stuff. We just see what's on the surface, which could be growing as fast as bamboo. So we talked about higher faculties all week. This is the way you match your desire. So higher faculties are your creative juice, and you have imagination, reason, intuition, memory, perception, and will. Those are your higher faculties. We talked about the feeling of the wish fulfilled and imagining and pulling towards you from the ether, day one. And yesterday we talked about reason and perception and will. And those are very earthy, right? These are very now things. And today we have to realize all of the higher faculties are mental, because the all is mental. So imagination is mental, reason is mental, intuition is mental, memory is mental, perception is mental, and will is mental. So truly, the all is mental. The all is mental. All right, so let's talk about cybernetics and get into your homework. And then I have a special invitation for those of you who are ready to take this to the next level and say yes, and to train with me over the next 12 months. So what is psycho-cybernetics? It was a book written in the 60s, which changed the way we viewed how we do things and our behaviors as humans. And basically this book, I don't have it, but I've heard about it and I eventually will get it. But it explained that we are on default, obviously, and that we always end up going back to our default if we try and break free of that. It's like autopilot or a thermostat. If you're in an airplane and there's turbulence and you're off track, it's going to make adjustments and bring you right back. Your thermostat is set to something you agreed upon, 70. If it dips down, fire activates and warms up. If it dips over, it's going to cool down. It's going to go back to where it was. This is the same thing when you decide you want something else for yourself. This is why New Year's resolutions don't work, because people aren't flowing in the 4%. They aren't giving themselves actual set points that are going to be achievable and doable, and they aren't persistent, and they don't create new defaults of success. They just try, and then they give up when they don't see results. They aren't listening to gestation. So your old patterns are going to pull you back. That's the key today. This will happen. So you have to actually move ahead without falter. You have to quickly decide and make a decision for yourself and move forward to create new patterns. And it's all about repetition. And that's why my program is 12 months. But I want to implement today's lessons first and give you some tidbits, and then I'll go over the opportunity I have for you to train with me over the next 12 months. So today is all about overriding defaults. Okay, you've got to get into the subconscious and override it. And the way you do that is repetition. So we're going to write an affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that, and it's going to be one sentence. You can refer back to your big dream of 3 years, but I want you to distill one goal that's specific, very, very specific, right? And I want you to write it out 50 times on a piece of paper, 50 times. I do this all the time. I have paper all around that's got these one sentence 50 times, guys, because what will happen is it will go into your subconscious on default. You don't even have to be you can be present, and then you can kind of zone out and just keep writing it. The repetition will imprint your subconscious, and your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is and what it thinks is. That's the key. So you can just tell it to hold and believe this, and it will do so, and it will coordinate on default without your conscious knowing the raw components to get you there. And so it's going to override and impress the subconscious mind. And if you want to enter to win, you post a picture of your piece of paper. It can be zoomed out if you don't want people to read it, fine. We just want to see that you've done it 50 times. You've got this affirmation, I am statement, as if it is so. That is a zoomed out goal of highest priority for you to achieve as fast as you will allow, and you'll be entered to win. So make a decision also. So do that. I want you to also start making faster decisions. Once you have all the evidence about whatever it is, go for it. You know what you want to do. So don't be wishy-washy. Don't let fear, doubt, indecision cloud your heart. Do what you want to do. That's called ownership and going for it. You've got to be decisive and urgent and make decisions quickly. It's a habit that you should get into. So the last thing is, who do you want to be? Start being it. Make a list of all the things you want to be and start doing those things, right? What would you be saying, wearing? Where would you go? Who'd you be hanging out with? Are you being who you want to be? Okay. So who wants to train with me over the next 12 months? Because repetition is the key. Did you know 95% of people aren't living the life they desire? That's a lot of people. So if you want to be part of the 5% that pursue and follow through with their goals, You've got to be in a mentorship program and in a tribe that's going to support that. Those who join this 12-month mentorship will get an autographed copy of Light Memory, An Alchemist's Guide to Waterbending. And guys, if you have enjoyed any of the information I've shared with you so far, we have just literally scraped the surface of the depth of information I have for you. This book goes into how to actually bend water and align with where you want to go using the alchemical tool and the liquid crystalline supercomputer that is water. It holds and emits energy and information. Very fascinating. And waterbending rocks are part of that. So if you decide today, you know what, I'm in, I want to train with you, Anahata, for the next 12 months. I'm going to give you Light Memory and Alchemist's Guide to Waterbending, as well as waterbending rocks. And that's for the first 10 who say, yeah, I'm doing this, okay? So what is it? The Rainbow Tribe. Now, if someone has invited you to this broadcast, if someone said, hey, you know what, I think you would really love this 5 days, get with them because they may have an affiliate code. I reward those who talk about the work that I'm doing, and you can actually earn income based on your referrals. So get with the person who shared this information with you, if there is such a person, and you will get 10% off, and they will get 10%. Okay, so it's a really cool way to grow together and be rewarded. Now, what does it include? And I want you to really understand you're zooming out, and you get to choose every week by week by week what you want to participate in. So I don't want you, as I go through this, to go, oh my gosh, this is so much information, I couldn't possibly keep up with it. That's not the point. It's like a gym membership. If you buy a gym membership, you don't go to every single class every day. No, you go to where you want to go. I'm going to go to yoga this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to do body pump. And on the weekend, I'm going to do boot camp, right? You pick and choose. So nevertheless, you will unlock all of this. And so you can choose based on your availability, desires over time. You'll get weekly well water. And we're going to go into more of this later. I don't have time to explain it now, but it's basically blessed water from my well water every week. Great Central Sun codes come in, and we upgrade and we learn, and it's a visceral experience that feeds 99% of who you are on a molecular level, which is water. It's fascinating. You're going to have a pass to Motivation Mondays, which are live coaching and celebrations, sort of like this, but more interactive. And we are going to be it to see it, repeat. We're going to actually fill out our fractals. Those are the 5 areas of success: your mindset, your money, your memories, who you're spending time with, where you're going, what you're doing, momentum. And that is just going for it, keep going for it. And movement. What are you doing with your body, and how to treat your body like the temple that it is. So that's Motivation Mondays. Metamorphosis Wednesdays. We go through a guided chrysalis journeys, which we're going to talk about more tomorrow. So I'm not going to even go into it right now. It's outstanding. There's nothing like it out here in the world that I've come across. And anyone who's in the tribe will tell you these shaman trips that we take to the Anahata tree are exquisitely productive, clearing, expansive, and supportive. You will have unlocked the University Fridays. I have, over the last 7 years since I started doing this, it started with the Anahata codes, I have 4 masterclass series that you'll actually have a seat to. You're going to get the Anahata codes masterclass series, the waterbending masterclass series, which some of you have already asked about. Am I doing it again? Yes, I am. And if you're in this program, that's a bonus. Grid work and questing world super conscious. So again, join the rainbowtribe.com. The first 10 of you to join are going to get a signed copy and waterbending rocks. Of course, you get the Anahata codes masterclass, the waterbending masterclass, the Grid for Gaia masterclass, and the code quests. Now, if you were to purchase all of these separately, it would come out to about $2,410. And here's the breakdown. And I want to point out the real, out there with coaches doing 12-month programs where you can tap in 3 times a week plus supplemental. It's going for $20,000, $30,000. Okay, I don't do that. It's one to many for me. I want it to be affordable, but it also means that it's up to you if you don't want to do it, because money can't be the reason, because it's very affordable. The program is actually $83 a month total, or $100 a month if you decide you want to do it monthly. Meaning if you pay in full, you get $200 off, and that equals $83 a month if you do the math. Or if you literally need to do it month by month, it's $100 per month. Okay, so it's not a monthly program. You sign up for the year. Why? Because repetition. You can't do it all, and you can't just think it and go, yep, I'm done. It's a month long. We have to do this again and again and again and again from different angles to get the defaults reset and calibrated to your best self, so that you do all of this on default. Okay, it takes 12 months. So again, there's an affiliate program. Once you join, you can become an affiliate. You share these journeys, and then you get 10%. So essentially, you could use your code and get $1,000 a month if you have 100 people who join because of you, and or pay for your membership if you get 10 people. Okay. So again, I want to give back to you for referring. And I want to just mention, find a way or find an excuse. That's what it's going to come down to, because as you saw, it's $100 per month. Anyone can figure out a way to make that work. So it's either you want to do it or you don't. If you don't, no worries, but make sure it's not self-sabotage. Some excuses that you may say are, it's not the right time. Well, this is why you need the program. It's too expensive. Well, that's why you need the program if you can't afford $100 a month. Sorry to say. You need to increase your abundance. And the way to do that is to go get rid of your old limiting patterns of lack and free that up and allow the abundance that is yours to come to you. If you say it's not the program for me, and so you're basically saying self-development isn't something that I want, which is painful. It doesn't feel right. Is that fear or fear of success? There's so many of us who say, oh my gosh, self-sabotage on the background. If I do this, my life will change, and am I ready for that? It's a very real thing. And just know that you can do it gently. You can keep the things intact that you want and transform in the ways that you desire. You're in the driver's seat. I don't have time. Well, then you need this program to master your time management, quite frankly. So ask yourself if you truly want this transformation, and then take the leap. Those who make decisions fast are successful. And so you will get the first 10 will get this book signed with Waterbending Rocks. And if not, it's okay. Just make sure that you're really checking in with yourself to see if it's because you're stuck in old patterns of limitation, or if you're afraid of your success that you will achieve in this program. All right. Zoom out, jump in, join the rainbowtribe.com. Again, as I said, you'll be rewarded. And I want to end with, I will see you tomorrow on day 4. We have so much more to go into. Write out one main goal 50 times as if it is so. I am, it's an affirmation. Okay, it can be I am so happy and grateful, or I am living my life fully because this has occurred. One specific goal 50 times. Snap a photo, post it inside the live replay of this event, and you'll be entered to win. I encourage you to make a decision today about something you've been wishy-washy about, and also make a list of who you want to be and start being it. Okay, tomorrow we're going to work more on self-image, but as I said earlier, you can never outperform your self-image. We got to get back to that and decide who we want to be. All right, guys, that's it for today. I love you so much. Mwah, mwah. Have a wonderful day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in tomorrow's day 4. God bless. Bye for now. Talk soon.